as we find our crocodile shape, forearms are stacked, fingertips meet elbows, and the forehead rests on the forearms. But taking a moment to feel into your lumbar spine, your lower back this morning, if this feels quite deep at this time this morning, you may like to take your hands and stack your hands and place your head on your hands, just softening the back bend. Taking some time here to breathe and wake up our diaphragm. Settling, finding a sense of balance between your legs, your feet. Perhaps it's helpful to imagine the line of your spine continuing to the bottom of your mat, and your legs, your feet equidistant from that line. A sense, as we know, we're not symmetrical, so really just a feeling of that balance. Feet resting any way that feels comfortable for you. And as you begin to settle, you might like to close your eyes. And this is the possibility of softening your shoulders a little more. Shoulders gently drawing down your back. So you have a felt sense that there's some space around your neck. If it's possible this morning, breathing in and out through your nose. Maybe inviting your tongue to rest in the lower part of your mouth. And perhaps you begin to follow the journey of your breath as you inhale. Watching your breath travel down to the lowest parts of your lungs. And maybe noticing or becoming aware of your ribcage expanding in all directions. So very much thinking of the ribcage, the breath, being a 360-degree movement. Connecting with your breath in the back of your body, so we know the majority of our breath moves into the back of the lungs. Is there a felt sensation in the back of your rib cage? Maybe some movement in your lower back. Taking 4 more breaths here, perhaps beginning to notice your breath slowing a little, softening. So mindful of any distractions, thoughts, drawing your focus back to your breath. And when you're ready, beginning to find your hands moving out into a T shape. Gaze towards your right hand to begin with, allowing your head to rest. And we're going to come into a pectoral stretch, working with the thoracic spine a little this morning. So right hand begins to slide towards your body as you roll onto your left hand side. And you may like to bend your knees here to allow a little bit more balance and stability. So the left arm is very much extended out behind you, in line with your shoulder. And then beginning to, if you'd like to, take your right leg and place the foot behind you. That's going to make the stretch of the sensation a little bit stronger. So welcome to ease off. And we're looking for a sensation around the shoulder area, pectorals, upper chest on the left side. Ensuring your head is grounded, so if needed, a prop or a pillow. The thoracic spine, the middle section of the spine, is about 50% of our total spine, connecting with the rib cage. It's almost like it's the backbone of our lungs and our heart. So often you'll hear me say the flexibility of our spine is directly related to our breath. So encouraging some flexibility in our thoracic spine this morning. So our lungs are able to expand, perhaps just a little more. When you're ready, gently rolling through center, taking your time, or taking as much time as you need, finding the T shape once again, and this time gaze is looking towards the left hand side, left hand sliding towards you as you roll onto your right side. And this is where you may like to have a little bend in your knees, offering a bit more support and balance. And this might be enough for you, particularly if you're right-handed, your right shoulder, right arm is a little tighter. Or perhaps the left foot begins to find the floor or the mat behind you as you come into a deeper sensation. And taking 2 more breaths here. When you're ready, begin to roll back to center, almost into our crocodile shape, and pushing back, finding a child's pose, a balasana. Maybe your arms are extended, maybe your elbows drop down, finding a shape that works for you here. Maybe your head is supported by hands or a prop, maybe your forehead's resting on the floor. As you find the variation that works for you at this point today, breathing into the back of your body. In your own time, beginning to rise up and find a tabletop shape. Hands roughly under shoulders, knees roughly under hips, just making sure you feel supported here, grounded here. Any pain or strain in your wrists, taking the options to soften or relieve into your wrists, either fists or having some height under your fingertips. We'll begin to roll through cat-cow, just 4 rounds this morning, dropping the belly, taking the gaze forwards, softening into your elbows, and then beginning to curl the spine round. Maybe taking your gaze towards your knees. Slow, mindful movement. If you'd like to integrate the breath, breathing in as you take your gaze forwards. Breathing out as your spine curls round. As you come into cow, really welcome to tuck your chin to your chest. It might make the stretch or sensation stronger. Eventually finding stillness in a neutral position and taking a moment to release through the wrists, a couple of wrist rolls. And I'm just going to begin to set up our tricep stretch. So you can see I've got a couple of blocks. Really welcome to come to a table or a work surface, anything you have nearby, some books. I'm going to plant the elbows down. Now if you're doing this on your mat, beginning to walk the knees back. So palms are coming together, almost like Anjali Mudra, dropping the head down past the blocks, thumbs coming towards your back. So it might be more comfortable, it might be easier to come to a standing position and do this on a table or a higher surface, fireplace. And we're looking here for a sensation in triceps. We're also beginning to work with the trapezius muscles, deltoids, and the thoracic spine. Is it possible to soften your shoulders away from your ears a little more? Maybe as the sensation of the stretch eases, the thumbs move a little closer to the back of your neck or between the shoulder blades. When you're ready, easing out and easing out slowly. Either coming back to your mat or removing any props. Looking to find a first downward facing dog. And as you begin to find your down dog, you might like to bring some movement here, exploring, maybe feet coming wide, gentle pedaling action. Fingers and hands spread, feeling the stable base through the hands. And you may even like to push into your hands a little more as your navel moves towards your thighs, finding length and space through the back of your body. And eventually finding rest for 2 to 4 breaths. That might be in child, a version of child, or even just seated and relieving, resting your wrists. And when you're ready, coming into a second downward facing dog. So as you find your downward dog, you're really welcome to create or move, work with the space you have in your body. If you're beginning to find stillness, having a sense of the weight of your body even through your hands, from your thumb to your little finger. Shoulders soft, sitting bones rising, could be a strong bend in the knees, lengthening through the back of your body. An option here is to come into a twist, so taking your right hand and placing it on your left leg, and this could be on the outside of your thigh, it could be your ankle, the outside of your shin or calf muscles, wherever you feel to reach, and the gaze is moving underneath the left armpit. Eventually finding your right hand planting down and taking that on the other side. So the left hand's coming to the outside of your right leg, wherever you feel you can take hold gently. Gaze moving underneath your right armpit. Beginning to find the left hand planting down again. And then finding a forward fold Uttanasana. So welcome to drop down to knees and slowly come up, or perhaps your feet begin to walk towards your hands, hands towards your feet. And you could come into dangling, taking hold of opposite elbows or allowing your arms, crown of your head to soften. On inhalation, beginning to come up, rising up slowly as our head has been lower than our heart for a little while. And as you begin to find your Tadasana, your mountain, feeling the length through your spine to the crown of your head. Come through a little bit of a flow this morning, still working the thoracic spine. So finding the top of your mat, so you know you have the space to step back. Feet could be hip distance apart, perhaps they are together. Having a sense of stability through your feet, maybe lifting the toes, spreading your toes. On an inhalation, maybe taking the hands out to the side, sweeping up, creating the motion of a sun. Exhalation as you fold forwards, heart always leading. Inhaling, halfway lift, perhaps your fingertips skim the floor, or hands could come to shins to a flat back shape. Exhaling, folding forwards. Right foot stepping back, we're coming into a lunge shape here, left knee directly above the left ankle. Right hand is planting down parallel with the left foot. You may like to have a block here, inviting the floor to you as you twist towards the left hand side. Left hand coming to left hip to begin with, encouraging the left shoulder back a little further, and then maybe your left hand rises up towards the sky, palm facing away from you. Any pain or strain in your right wrist, making a soft fist. On an exhalation, we're beginning to rotate round and change hands. So the left hand is coming to the floor, the prop next to your right hand coming to your right hip as you twist round. Maybe you stay here, or maybe your right hand floats up towards the sky, palm facing away. Feeling the length through your right leg, heel still reaching away. Left knee still above left ankle, just making sure there's no pain or strain in your left knee. On an exhalation, beginning to rotate round. And this is where we're going to turn towards our right hand side and come into a wide-legged forward fold. So as you pivot on your feet, hands coming down towards the earth, having a sense your feet are parallel. So little toe edges are parallel. If your legs are straight, making sure your quads, your thighs are turned on, protecting the knees. Head, neck softening. And then taking hold of opposite thighs if that feels possible. So right hand begins to connect with the outside of the left thigh, the left hand begins to connect with the outside of your right thigh. It's almost as if you're trying to pull the thighs together and create space between your shoulder blades. Making sure head, neck soft, relaxed, maybe tucking your shin. And releasing your hands slowly as you begin to turn back to the front of your mat into our lunge, and then finding a plank shape. So that could be on knees or toes, finding length through the back of your body. Stable base through the hands, so making sure your hands are spread. Inner elbows are facing each other. Weight distribution even from the thumb to the little finger. If you're on your toes, you might like to gently rock forwards, looking over the edge of your mat. On an exhalation, gently dropping down to knees, chest and chin, and we're coming into Sphinx today. Elbows underneath shoulders. If your back's not happy, if that feels a little bit too deep, taking the elbows a little further forwards. Softening, really welcome to come back into crocodile. Engaging through the fingers, so a gentle pushing into the fingertips you may notice your arms become more active, heart rising, lifting, shoulder blades almost trying to move together. And welcome to stay here in Sphinx, or perhaps you take a very gentle twist through the neck, cervical spine, taking your gaze towards your right hand side, perhaps down towards your right hip. Inhaling through center, exhaling as you take your gaze towards your left hip. Inhaling as you come through center, exhaling, lowering yourself down. Inhaling, downward facing dog or extended child, finding the shape that works for you here. Welcome to bring movement here, or stillness. Option to drop two knees and step your right foot forwards, or perhaps you begin to lift your right leg, three-legged dog, gently bending into your right knee and stepping forwards. We're going to come into half moon here, so if you're familiar with it, you may like a block or a brick to the diagonal of your little toe. Finding your hand on your block, your brick, perhaps even a chair or a table nearby. Hopping the left leg up. So you might like to stay here in a variation of Warrior 3. Or maybe you begin to open up, standing, turning towards your left hand side. Gaze towards the left, hips stacked. So finding the hips stacked, left heel reaching away, flexed active foot, and perhaps then the left arm begins to follow. Palm again reaching away. Gently bending into your right knee as you float down. Left foot grounding back into our lunge shape. Left foot's going to step forwards as we end up or meet in a forward fold. Softly bending into your knees, breathing in, creating the shape of the sun as you rise up. Maybe your gaze follows. Exhaling, floating your arms down. Taking a few breaths there, just enjoying the stillness, maybe allowing your breath, your heart to slow a little. And reconnecting with your feet. On an inhalation, beginning to rise with the arms. Exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, halfway lift, flat back. Exhaling, folding forwards. From here, the left foot is stepping back. So finding the left foot into our lunge. And this is where we're coming into a twist. Left hand becomes parallel with the right foot. Maybe you bring the floor to you as you turn towards your right hand side, right hand on the hip. Maybe the right hand begins to rise up, palm facing away. Any pain or strain in the shoulder, allowing your arm to rest. Could also drop to the knee as well. Exhaling as you rotate through center. Right hand coming to the inside of your right foot. As you twist towards your left hand side, left hand coming to your hip. Still reaching away with your left heel if you are in the standing lunge. And then maybe your left palm reaches up towards the sky. On an exhalation, slowly finding center. And this is where we come into our wide-legged forward fold. So beginning to turn or pivot towards your left-hand side. Feet are wide. There could be a softness in the knees. If you are straightening your legs, making sure there's a sense of your thighs turning on. It's engaging a muscle called the vastus medialis to protect the knees. Head soft, gaze behind you. And then option here is to rest the hands on the back, perhaps take opposite elbows, or maybe you clasp the hands and reach away. A sense of your shoulder blades moving together. On an exhalation, gently releasing through your hands, pivoting back to the front of your mat so we end up in our lunge again, and stepping your right foot back. Plank. Finding knees or toes. Navel towards spine, just a little. And on an exhalation, dropping down to knees, chest, chin coming back into our Sphinx shape. Really welcome to soften the back bend or rest in crocodile here. Engaging through the forearms if you are in Sphinx, turning the arms on. Heart rising, heart lifting. Forearms are parallel. And then maybe you take a twist on this side as well. So gently pushing into your right hand, right elbow this time coming off the mat, keeping a softness in the elbow as you gaze towards your right hand side, trying to keep the hips and the pelvis grounded. Inhaling as you come back through center. Exhaling as you begin to push into your left hand, elbow coming just off the mat. Keeping pelvic bone, pubic bone grounded. Inhaling as you come through center. Exhaling as you slowly lower yourself down. Hands coming to mid-chest level as you rise up into downward dog. Welcome to find an extended child here as well. Feeling into your down dog, has it changed very much from the first one we practiced together earlier? Is there a sense of ease, a little more softness? Beginning to find your right leg stepping forwards. Left leg stepping forwards. Maybe dropping to your knees or lifting your left leg into three-legged dog and stepping it through. And this is where we're going to come into our half moon. So beginning to place any support you would like at the diagonal of your little toe. Hopping your right foot, maybe off the mat just a little. That might be enough, keeping a softness in the knees. Or maybe you begin to rise up, finding your half moon, turning towards your right hand side, right heel reaching away. Hips stacked, maybe your right hand reaches up towards the sky. Softening your jaw. Keeping a micro bend in the left knee, so trying not to lock the knee. And that's just keeping the knee safe. On an exhalation, allowing your hand to float down if it was raised. Right foot coming down towards the mat, slowly, gently. Finding your way into a forward fold, Uttanasana. Feet either together or hip distance apart. Beginning to rise up as you soften into your knees, reaching towards the sky. On an exhalation, floating your arms, your hands back down. Taking a few breaths here, enjoying the space you're creating. Reconnecting with your breath. Finally finding your way down towards the mat. Before we lie down for relaxation for a few minutes, coming into Janusarasana, I'm going to sit on a block. You're really welcome to join me. And this is just to create a little bit more space in my lower back. Starting in Dandasana, so legs extended out away from you. Staff pose, perhaps taking the fingertips of the hands a little further back, inviting a bit more space in the upper chest. Right knee beginning to come in and then gently fall out. Right sole of the right foot coming in to connect with the inside of the left thigh. And if it's quite high, you might like to have some pillows or cushions to support your right knee. Beginning to turn your navel towards your foot. So it's almost a little bit of a counter twist as we gaze towards our left foot. And then on an exhalation, folding forwards with the heart leading towards the toes. So making it really soft, really quiet today. Perhaps you can tuck your chin a little more, even close your eyes. Welcome to take hold of your left ankle or foot, but making sure it's a really quiet, light touch. So it's no gripping or grasping. So as with all forward folds, said to quieten our minds. So perhaps you follow your inhalation and exhalation. A sense of your rib cage expanding in all directions. Or when you're ready on an inhalation, beginning to slowly rise up. You might like to take your right hand and scoop your right knee in and changing sides. And likely to be very different on this side, so again, welcome to take any support you need to soften into the shape. Allow your left knee to feel held. Lifting through your heart center and then very softly folding forwards, heart reaching for the toes. When you're ready, beginning to walk your hands back towards your hips, maybe encouraging your left knee slowly through center. I'm going to begin to find a shape for relaxation, so just making sure you have any extra layers you need to make sure you feel warm, feel supported. And you may, as you come down towards your mat, like a little bit of movement, so that might look like knees coming in towards your chest, perhaps even some circling, knees coming apart. Any movement here that feels helpful. And maybe you begin with your feet coming down towards the earth. Done a lot of back work today, allowing your back to settle. And then welcome to come to any shape that feels comfortable for you. So maybe that is Shavasana, perhaps it's staying where you are or rolling over onto one side. Making sure you feel supported for rest. Taking the time to encourage your shoulders to soften. Perhaps resting your tongue in the lower part of your mouth. And if it's helpful for you, bringing your focus to your breath to find stillness in your mind. Beginning to gently come out of relaxation, maybe moving some fingers and toes, taking some deeper breaths. In your own time, finding movement. And perhaps rolling over onto one side and taking a few breaths there. When you're ready, finding a seated shape. Using any support, bricks, blocks, cushions to help you find length through your spine. And today we'll finish with a reading. Make your day into a moving meditation. Today, keep your eyes open and your senses engaged, but try to move through your day with a gentle sense of direction and a commitment to staying calm, peaceful, and non-reactive. To maintain this, keep your breath steady, using it as a personal reference point. Notice whether your breath becomes rapid or agitated, and if it does, slow it down again. Imagine that your breath surrounds you, creating a private, contemplative space for you, like a protective but porous curtain between you and the world. Notice if this practice helps you find a balance between inviting the world in and maintaining your personal sense of self. Today, try to make your entire day into a moving meditation. And perhaps those words land, welcome to take your hands across heart center or perhaps together in Anjali Mudra. Taking a moment to thank yourself for your morning practice. Setting yourself up for your day ahead. Thank you for joining me for our last class on Space to Be. I'm going to take my hands to my forehead for kind thoughts, to my lips for kind words, and to my heart center for kind actions. Om Shanti.